Do you ever wonder why some people jump out of bed ready to conquer the world, while you hit snooze 5 times and drag yourself through the morning like a zombie? If you're watching this video, chances are you've tried everything. You've downloaded meditation apps, bought expensive alarm clocks, even tried sleeping with your phone in another room. But nothing seems to work. Here's the truth nobody talks about. Your brain is literally working against you, and until you understand why, you'll keep losing this battle every single morning. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's a marketing executive who used to spend her mornings in what she called panic mode. She'd wake up already thinking about her presentation at work, her kids' parent-teacher conference, and the 15 emails she forgot to answer yesterday. By the time she got to the office, she was already mentally exhausted. Sound familiar? Sarah's story is the story of millions of people who think they just lack willpower. But the real problem runs much deeper. Every morning, your brain releases cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Now, cortisol isn't evil. It's actually supposed to wake you up and give you energy. It's part of something called your circadian rhythm, and it's been keeping humans alive for thousands of years. But here's where things get interesting, and this is where most people get it completely wrong. If you're already stressed about your day before you even open your eyes, your brain floods you with even more cortisol. This creates what neuroscientists call the morning anxiety spiral. Your brain thinks it's protecting you by making you worry about everything you have to do, but instead of motivating you, it paralyzes you. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately start thinking about your to-do list, your brain can't tell the difference between a presentation at work and a saber-toothed tiger. To your ancient brain circuits, stress is stress, so it pumps you full of fight-or-flight chemicals when what you actually need is calm, focused energy. This is why you can drink 3 cups of coffee and still feel sluggish. You're not caffeine deficient, you're cortisol overwhelmed. But it gets worse. Recent studies from Stanford University show that this morning cortisol spike doesn't just affect your mood, it literally rewires your brain. When you start every day in stress mode, you're training your neural pathways to default to anxiety. You're essentially programming yourself to be overwhelmed. Now, before you think this is hopeless, let me share something that will change everything. Within the first hour of waking up, your brain is in what researchers call a heightened neuroplasticity state. In simple terms, your brain is 23% more receptive to forming new neural pathways during this time. Scientists call this the cognitive golden hour. Most people completely waste this window. They grab their phone, scroll through social media, check emails, and basically hand their mental state over to whatever chaos the world wants to throw at them. But what if I told you there's a way to hijack this window? What if you could use this natural brain state to reprogram your entire day before it even starts? This isn't some new age nonsense. This is based on decades of neuroscience research from institutions like Harvard Medical School, MIT, and the National Institute of Mental Health. The solution isn't willpower. It's understanding your biology and working with it instead of against it. Let me walk you through exactly what successful people do differently, and I mean the real high performers, CEOs, Olympic athletes, world-class scientists. They've figured out how to speak their brain's language. First thing they do before they even get out of bed, they drink water. Not coffee, water. Here's why this matters more than you think. Your brain is 73% water. After 8 hours without any hydration, you're basically asking your most important organ to function while it's running on empty. It's like trying to drive a car with no oil in the engine. When you're dehydrated, even by just 2%, your cognitive function drops by 23%. Your attention span shrinks, your decision-making gets cloudy, and your emotional regulation goes out the window. This is why you feel irritable and foggy in the morning, even after a full night's sleep. But here's the game changer. When you hydrate immediately upon waking, you're sending a clear signal to your brain that it's time to shift into active mode. You're literally giving your neurons the fuel they need to fire efficiently. The second thing they do, and this is crucial, they expose themselves to natural light for at least 2 minutes. Not artificial light from their phone, natural light. Your brain has what's called a suprachiasmatic nucleus. Think of it as your body's master clock. This tiny cluster of neurons controls your entire circadian rhythm, and it's incredibly sensitive to light exposure. When natural light hits your retinas in the morning, it sends a direct signal to stop producing melatonin, your sleep hormone, but more importantly, it starts the countdown for your next sleep cycle. This is why people who get morning sunlight fall asleep faster and sleep deeper at night. But here's what most people don't know. This light exposure also triggers the release of dopamine and serotonin, your motivation and happiness chemicals. You're literally giving yourself a natural mood boost that lasts for hours. The third thing, and this is where it gets really powerful, they write down 3 specific things they want to accomplish that day. Not a massive to-do list that overwhelms their prefrontal cortex, just 3 things. This does something incredible to your brain. Instead of letting your mind spiral through endless possibilities and anxieties, you're giving it a clear roadmap. You're activating your goal-oriented neural networks and shutting down your threat detection systems. When your brain knows exactly what to focus on, it stops scanning for problems and starts scanning for solutions. It's the difference between walking through a dark forest wondering what might jump out at you, versus walking down a well-lit path toward a destination you can see. But here's the secret sauce that makes this whole system work. You have to do all 3 things in the first 10 minutes of being awake. Not after you check your phone, not after you start your morning routine, immediately. Remember that cognitive golden hour I mentioned? You're hijacking it. You're using your brain's natural neuroplasticity window to install better programming before the chaos of the day can interfere. Let me tell you what happened to Sarah after she started doing this. The first week was rough. She had to fight every instinct to grab her phone or start mentally rehearsing her day. But by week 2, something shifted. She started waking up with what she called quiet confidence instead of anxiety. By month 3, her entire life had changed. She got a promotion at work, not because she was working longer hours, but because she was thinking more clearly during the hours she did work. Her relationship with her kids improved because she wasn't starting every day in stress mode. Even her friends noticed she seemed different, more present, more calm. This isn't magic. This is just what happens when you stop fighting your brain and start working with it. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds too simple. And you're right, it is simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Your brain is going to resist this change because it's comfortable with the current pattern, even if that pattern makes you miserable. Neuroscientists call this the familiarity principle. Your brain prefers familiar misery over unfamiliar success because familiar feels safe, even when it's not serving you. But here's the thing. Every person who has ever transformed their life had to push through this resistance phase. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is just this. They do it anyway. Your brain isn't your enemy. It's just been programmed by years of habits that don't serve you anymore. But the beautiful thing about neuroplasticity is that you can reprogram it at any age starting tomorrow morning.